Welcome back to the Friday Matinee on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm George.
I am T.
We're listening to a little bit of the dulcet
guest.
sounds.
Nice.
The tunes of our guest, Robert Matter. This song is rocking on the radio. I figured this is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. We
Am I
are
right?
totally rocking on KHTS AM 1220, your radio.
Indeed.
Love that. Now, our guest today is Robert Matter. He's in the studio with us, and our small but mighty audience is going to definitely weigh in and say welcome to being here at AM 1220 KHTS.
There we are.
Now, Robert, when you came in, I said right away, I knew you because I'd heard you perform before, and I liked you because you've got some amazing music. Now, the songs that are on here, you're a writer. How many of these on here out of 13 tunes? You write all of these?
Yes.
That was fantastic. Now, how long has your music career? How long have you been playing, writing? How long has this been part of your life?
Well, this has always been part of my life as far back as I can remember.
So you went from crying to singing.
Yes. It was Herman and his Hermits.
Yeah.
Henry VIII I Am. It was the Beatles. It was Elvis, of course, Elvis.
Yeah.
I'm nothing but a hound dog and
Right.
and blue suede shoes. But sure, and then as you spread out and you spread your wings and you pick up a guitar one day that you never had an opportunity to have.
So you didn't play as a kid?
No.
No piano, nothing formal,
We
just
were farmers. I grew up in Kansas.
Kansas.
And I hitchchiked out here in 1978.
Wow.
Kids
what part of
don't do
Kansas?
I was in the southeast corner, Cherokee County, Kansas.
Okay.
It was right down near the first cow town in Kansas, which was Baxter Springs.
Okay.
Four-state area, Joplin, Missouri, Miami, Oklahoma. You've got Arkansas and Kansas.
I want that on a T-shirt. Baxter Springs.
I only say that
like
because my in-laws, Margie's parents, my wife's parents, had lived in Dorrance, Kansas, which even people from Kansas don't know where Dorrance is. So that's why I always have to ask. Well, so that was like 2 hours away from anywhere, like Hayes or something like that.
So who handed you a guitar? How'd you get a hold of a guitar?
I met a young guy when I was living in Long Beach. I was working in the docks. I hitchhiked out here and ended up at the Port of Los Angeles.
Wow, there you go.
And I met a guy out of the Merchant Marines. He was, at night we would meet the same apartment building about the same time we get off work, and he played guitar. And the next thing you know, he was giving me his old guitar because he'd bought a new one. And I started learning how to
do what you do.
He says do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and that's how we learn by sound.
Wow.
Nice. Just like Marie Von Trapp. So now you're a storyteller because I have had the opportunity to hear you get up, your patter with the audience, and how you were always a storyteller probably before you picked up that guitar, weren't you?
My family, my grandfather, he was a great storyteller. He believed if you couldn't tell a story better than the guy you heard it from, don't even bother telling it.
Right? It's like the story of Scheherazade, that she kept telling stories so she wouldn't get killed, so she'd find favor with the king. You knew that it was eat or be eaten, tell the best story possible. And then you translated that to your music. When did that start happening after you learned to play guitar and it started to become the storytelling set to chords?
When I left. When you
left Kansas?
Yeah, when I left Kansas, and you have this need to be around your family, because now you got to realize our families were all right next to each other. You had grandma and grandpa, and then you had their families, their mother and father on each side of them. Then you had aunt up the road, and then it was a very
close-knit,
warm feeling, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
There's a hole.
Christmas wasn't the same, nothing was the same. So you start, you create things. When you find a penny, you pick it up, you think of your grandpa and your grandma automatically, and that still happens to me today. It keeps everybody close, even though they've passed on. And the songs
penny's their way of saying hi to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, have a great day.
And then the songs became a way to tell their tales.
To remember.
There's one of them that really stuck out. I mean, we went through your songs, and I mean, we could play other ones too, but one that really stuck out, aside from the Rockin' on the Radio, is Old Ghost Road. And that's one that I kind of programmed in here to play because I wanted to play the whole song. Tell me a little bit about that one.
That actually started out, I was going to write a book, a story, because I had a great storyline in my head. And it was about, I had passed. I'd actually passed away, and I heard a voice. I didn't know I'd passed away. I just wasn't. I thought I might be dreaming. But my dog had passed away, and in the story, my dog shows up right there as I pass. He smells me, sniffs me, and I start thinking, well, in this book, this is kind of creative. God, dog spelled backwards is God. But the voice that I heard was a very familiar voice. And then as I got closer, stepped out of the shadows, it ends up being my wife's mother. She's been standing there on this old ghost road, making sure I'm doing right by her daughter this whole time. I know this is crazy, but that's the beautiful thing about fiction.
I'm glad it was her that showed up, though.
Inspiration comes from any number of places.
And she'd been waiting there all these years, and now she's able to take her turn and go on. But it had some twists and turns on into it, and it actually made me start thinking of things that made me think I was crazy. So I kind of backed off and wrote a song instead. And it was much easier.
Well, I want to play this. Would this be considered the radio broadcast premiere by any chance of Old Ghost Road?
Has it ever been played on the radio before?
No.
And here we are.
That's 2 in a row.
Robert Matter, Old Ghost Road. World broadcast premiere on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Robert Matter, Old Ghost Road, world broadcast premiere. And I say that because we also stream worldwide, so anybody with an internet connection.
Where's our farthest flung fan?
As far as I know, Sweden, from the guy that actually has like the actual, some sort of receiver.
Doing it organically.
That can actually.
Yeah, not on the internet, but that was great.
But that was, you gave us kind of the setup on that prior to us playing this Robert Matter, and you were saying also, though, while we were off the air talking, that you recorded the vocals first and then you put the music behind it afterwards, which is not an easy thing to do.
That's right, but it allowed it kept it structurally sound. A lot of times when you're working with different musicians, things will tend to change, and then it'll change your vocals, and I wanted to make sure that stayed true.
It was an excellent job. And I was saying, I was like going to compliment, man, excellent sense of timing. Because well, we worked with a click track, so even still, that's not an easy. But even with that, and being able to stay on key and everything, and not kind of wander, that's amazing. That's a good ear, even still.
And during the break, you commented that you're here today on your birthday, so you now have a cupcake in front of you. So happy birthday to you. Do you plan to, in the birthday's future, be doing creative things on your birthday? I mean, I would like to encourage that. You know, it's a tough road to hoe, this music thing, but for future birthdays, doing the music thing.
Yes, I would like to, music's my passion, but I don't have a clear view on it. I'm a creative kind of guy. I'm not the business aspect, so I don't really know where it's going to take me at this point. It's a good possibility. I might get a call from somebody in the city and say, hey, would you like to come to play at one of our concerts in the park? Couldn't ask for more than that, or maybe a poetry festival. I hope the city would take advantage of me.
Well, there you go.
Now, do you like...
In a good way, of course.
As a musician, do you like performing live? Do you like performing small and intimate? Do you like a big crowd? Do you like being in the studio more? I know that every musician I've ever met, everyone is different. Like, some people love being in the studio. I liked being in the studio partly because of that crafting. And like we were talking about, you went from the vocals and then you built out from there, and you're creating this audio painting, this picture, and there's something incredibly exciting about that. But then when you're performing, sometimes in a small intimate setting, it's just you and a group of people you're really touching, or in a big... Do you have a favorite?
I like both. I love being in the studio, but after you're in there for a while, you start craving this desire to create again. There's something about when you write a song, you need to play it 50, 100 times to get out of your system. It's like a new computer game, I expect. I don't play those games, but I see what it does to the kids. It has an effect on you. And the only thing I can explain is it's in you, and you got to let it out.
Exactly.
So that's how you do it.
Well, we have another song, and this one is called Black Cadillac.
I'll tell you about this song.
Okay.
When I was a boy, about 5 years old, my dad and I took off on our little tractor. You know, he had an old International. We headed down those dirt roads and headed for my uncle's house. And we hitched up to this old Cadillac. Didn't have any tires, just wheels on it. And we headed back down the highway, pulling that Cadillac with that tractor, and we got down to the railroad tracks, and it got stuck on the railroad tracks.
No.
Oh, yay.
And he couldn't get it off, so we let it there and set and ran back down and got a jack so we could jack it up and then hook it back up and just jerk it over those tracks. And by golly, we did, and got it back down to the farm. No train hit it or anything.
Well, that's good.
But that car sat down there, and he took that motor out of there, and he had it hanging on a chain from a tree. And that picture in my mind right there, chain with the motor hanging from a tree, I wrote that whole song from that line.
Well, we'll play this out as we go. Robert Matter, do you have a website, or do you have anything that we can if people want to find out more about you? You got any gigs coming up, or are we just going to, you just let us know when you got something coming up and we'll put it out there to everybody?
I'm going to start working on that.
There we go.
I have an email that's heavyhead2010@att.net.
There we go.
That's the email you want to write if you would like to book Robert Matter for his next upcoming gig.
All right, so we're gonna play it out with Black Cadillac again, the world broadcast premiere, Robert Matter. Talk it out, T.
All right, I believe this is the song you played for us before, because I remember the story about the motor in the tree. Black Cadillac, Robert Matter, here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Doing math in my head.
Welcome back to the Friday Matinee.
Just out of nowhere. I know that sounds kind of weird. Welcome back to the Friday Matinee, because I'm looking at now we have our off time now. It's not as easy, so I got to look and
like
see.
It used to be.
And also, all right, Frank Sinatra, we get it.
The ads change.
They change. So
sometimes
it used
it's
to be,
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
So that's why I had to kind of look, and I realized.
I do it too, George. I do it too.
Indeed. So.
Well, that was kind of fun. 2 totally different worlds of music. 2 totally different gentlemen from 2 very varied past and experience. And so Paul Carafotes with CharlieBubblesBook.com, and Robert Matter, who's a phenomenal storyteller. And the idea that he sets it to music, as he was walking out, I said, I had the opportunity to see you perform before, and I am a big fan because I think his music is so much fun. I really enjoyed that. And Heavyhead 2010, he said was email.
Heavyhead2010@att.net.
Yeah. So if you want to book him, he's totally worth it. Worth the stories.
Exactly. Which reminds me, are we doing country music showdown again?
I hope so, because for me, that's a really wonderful opportunity to see all the talent gathered together. It's an exciting time. And our concerts in the park, truly some of the best in all of America. Truly the best.
Well, that's true. I know right now we're focused on things like the Sacramento trip coming up, the upstairs people or back people now.
I say the tower.
Upstairs. But, focused on the Home and Garden Show.
Home and Garden Show.
Once that's done, we'll probably start focusing on things such as summer things.
Home and Garden Show will be fun this year, too. We're going to be in Central Park, which is different, and that's going to be very interesting with all the vendors and the Emergency Expo.
The goat soap people will be back.
Love the goat soap people. Because, and the Bennett, the bees. Oh, yeah.
And I got a really cool, it's funny because last year they did pet based or cat based stuff.
Cat-based stuff.
Well, and I bought a clock that was like a black clock with a black cat on it.
Oh.
And it's still in the box. I haven't hung it yet, but it's beautiful.
Impulse buy.
Well, it was, but it's also
your house full of dogs. You got something with a cat on it.
Well, we were thinking we were going to move in a couple months last year, and we didn't. And now we think we're going to move again, so it's still kind of in the box. I'm like, I don't want to put stuff up and get all attached and have to take it down.
No, you got to take it down and rebox it.
So anyway, but that's it. But Home and Garden Show is a lot of fun, and
always love that.
And Central Park is a cool place. And Central Park is going to be a great place for summer concerts again.
This is an entertaining valley, and I love being part of KHTS, partly because of things that are entertainment related. And Friday Matinee is like that little moment, George, where we get that little window to kind of concentrate on that. It's fun.
Outstanding. Speaking of which, this has been the Friday Matinee on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Stick around for My Conscious Dad coming up after this.